This gives you an insight. He helpfully provides a footnote explaining to readers who the band Radiohead are, just in case you've never heard of them. If you're reading Luke Haynes' autobiography, I think you probably heard of Radiohead.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. Your buddies Andy and John here, and we are going to discuss a song, yes, that's John, that he has to offer us today. John, what is the track and what is the artist you'd like me to go off and listen to, my friend?
The band is the Auteurs.
The Auteurs. Okay.
The track is New French Girlfriend. I thought your eyes would light up at that.
Yeah, sounds enticing. And I think I've heard of the band The Auteurs before. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely sounds familiar. I am almost 100% sure that I've never heard any of their stuff, or if I had, I hadn't realized it. So yeah,
be highly surprised if you had. You know, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, but not reckoning.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'm with you on that. I'm not reckoning I've heard them either. So yeah, I'm intrigued by this song title. Let me go off and give it a listen, and I will come back and let you know what I think about this New French Girlfriend. Now, we've got an interesting beginning here because I think I'm hearing bow on string in there, as well as some really interesting punch on like the piano every now and again here, just in the very beginning. And I don't know, there's something, it sounds weird, but there's something seductive about that sound. I don't know, I really like it a lot. In fact, I'm going to take it back and I want to hear this beginning again. Guitars are so clean and pretty. like how in the choruses it's like that new French girlfriend bit, like the dynamic shift. So it repeats itself, and the first time is a bit more restrained and pulled in, and then the second time the first time it repeats itself, the second time it occurs, the music is it sort of buoys the lyrics, and it lifts, becomes a little bit louder and fuller in sound, a little bit more distorted. I like that. I like that sort of. It's not like loud, soft, loud dynamics like you hear in a lot of other songs that we've covered and discussed on the channel. It's there, but it's a little more subtle and not as ham-handed, I suppose. And I like that. Overall, the song does a really deft job at playing with slight dynamic shifts. Not only portion or like section to section, but even the dynamics within a portion or a section. Good stuff. What do we got here? I love this part. The guitar. When the plane lands. Oh, this is like the motif from the beginning. Oh, okay, nice little touch. You gonna trick me again? I think that's the end. All right. Yeah, that song was really interesting. I don't know what it was about the vocalist. I did really enjoy his voice, but it's conjuring like familiarity in me, and I'm not sure who it is that he's reminding me of, but there's definitely something there that feels familiar to me anyway. I loved that portion and how like the music, how his layering of that vocalization over the music meshed so well together. Yeah, this was a really good song. Like that beginning and end portion kind of has this like seductive nature to it, which is kind of interesting whenever the topic of conversation is something like a significant other, you know, someone who has caught the eye of the narrator. And that has this, but then it has all this playful, gentle, semi-subtle dynamic play within the song I spoke of earlier, and that too is another tick in the box. So yeah, I really enjoyed this tune. I have to say, I don't think I've ever heard of the Auteurs. If I have, I've certainly never heard any of their music, but this I thought was an interesting little piece. I don't think it's enough for me to go, oh my God, these guys are amazing, or this enough for me to not be interested. In fact, I am interested. I'm just not sold one way or the other. Hopefully with some back information from John, perhaps a further listen of this and some of their other material, I'll have a better formed opinion. I mean, this is just a first listen to an artist that I've never listened to before, so I'm just checking out this song for the first time. All of it's rather new to me, but there are plenty of points of interest that would keep me intrigued enough to want to know more about the band, the song, and their catalog outside of this. And the only way to learn more about that is to get back to John.
Okie dokie, you have returned.
Bonjour. Yes, I have.
In the words of Pepe Le Pew, ma chérie, l'amour, le chase is on. I still love Pepe Le Pew. It's so funny.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Was it a
Oh.
stinker?
Oh goodness. Well, yeah, I enjoyed this tune. We get this like really nice groove to kind of start things off. And there appears to be like accents of like bow dragging across some sort of stringed instrument, as well as like the occasional punch piano note that has this resonance to it. And I really like that the way those two sounds are bridged together. If I could say anything about this portion, it's if it had gone on 38 seconds rather than the brief whatever it was, that small amount, I probably would have liked it a little bit more, just because it would have I don't know, there was something. And another thing that's interesting about this part, it's got this kind of seductive sound to it. And when you have this title like my new French girlfriend, and it has this seductive sound, they go hand in hand. I just wish they would have extended it a little bit longer to really like let it wash over you and to kind of relish in that sound. Because I really did like it. And I don't know what it is about the singer's vocal delivery that sounds semi-familiar, having clearly established that I'm not familiar with this band at all. But I can't put my finger on it. But nonetheless, it's still there. Like his voice sounds like something I've heard before. I'm probably just never going to be able to put my finger on it. But I did enjoy it. It was an excellent vocal delivery. Also, during the beginning of the verse, there's this fun bit where the music stops and starts. And I like that little variation, that little play with dynamics. From there, the verse moves along, carried by these bright guitar notes. Then he delivers the line about turning rocks into sand, which I thought was a pretty cool line. And distortion kicks in. And the guitar gives the song like a bit more edge at this point, with this added bit of like effect on it. Then the song reins itself in, almost retreating inside of itself, and the singer begins to deliver the refrain of the chorus, mentioning his new French girlfriend. He then repeats that bit of the chorus, but this time bolstered by a fuller sound. As the music escalates again, it becomes fuller. And he does this happens. There's not only like you oftentimes see dynamic shift between verse and chorus, the loud, quiet stuff that we've talked about a lot. It's kind of fun to see it not only happening between portions of the song, but portions within the song, where the chorus, the first two lines are delivered very subdued. Then he like ramps up the repeated portion of the verse with more like life and attitude and sound. I thought that was kind of cool. An interesting little play in dynamics there. They then downshift again, and we get more of the subdued music of the verse. And after the line, after the line where he says Elaine, Renee, Vanessa, and me, he does this sort of part. And it's like buoyed by the now full sound of the guitar. And I think this happened earlier as well. I really caught on to it this time, but I love that sound. I love the way the ahs mesh so perfectly with the music. It almost sounds like a riff on a guitar or something like that. It's so just cut from the same cloth as the music that it becomes like intertwined with it, almost like inseparable. So I thought that was a really interesting touch. And for as simple as that little vocalization was, it was one of my favorite parts of the song. After the next chorus, we get this like sonic shift around the 224 mark, and this bendy guitar comes sliding into focus. And I say sliding into focus because it's a little like out of focus as it starts. It's a little off kilter kind of. But he sings the price of success, is I think the line, and the guitar lead finds its footing and progresses forward. And I like how it is just a touch of edginess to it, despite also towing the line of poppiness as well. So it does a good job of kind of like bridging the gap of these two worlds, of like edgy guitar, but also like really accessible pop song. And then we were treated to another chorus before the song teases a verse, but really only provides half a verse, really. I think it's just like two lines or something like that. And he says something to the effect of, want a girl to hold my hand when the plane lands. And it's at this point I'm thinking the song is through, but I fall victim to a very, very pregnant pause. After which the song reintroduces that little motif that the song started with. So we get this kind of lovely little book ending of the tune, which is a great way to put a bow on a very enjoyable song. But again, if that intro had been 38 seconds and the outro had been 24 seconds of that kind of motif, I really would have. I don't know. I clearly found myself wanting to relish more in this bit of the music, which was probably my favorite bit of pure music in the whole song. But there are these lovely little like dun, 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 like sort of chord, like the way they wrap up each progression with that clean, tidy little chord shift to kind of, again, to use a term I just used, put a bow on each of these musical bits was really nice too. I like that a lot as well. And that actually, to me, screamed more of the poppy side of things because everything was prim and proper and clean, like tidied up when they did that. But yeah, a really good song. I enjoyed it a lot. Since we both established that I know jack shit about the Auteurs, I would like to learn more, and I assume it would be from you. So why don't you fill me in, sir?
Well, before we get into that, I'll just say I have a really sort of odd relationship with the Auteurs. There'll be one day when I think they're absolutely brilliant, and the next day I think, nah, can't be bothered with this. Um, he is a polarizing figure, the main
Oh,
guy. We'll get into that. Um, just because of his character, not anything he said. Well, no, he's a bitchy twat as well, but you know, he's not a Morrissey. Don't get
right.
worried. Um, yeah, but yeah, sometimes I really enjoy their music, and I think fans of them, will cite certain records as being the best of the decade. You know, the people are really, really into it. One of my friends is. And there are other times when I just, it doesn't do anything for me. But this song always seems to, so it's it. I think they're an interesting band. He's a very interesting character, so it's worth being exposed to and knowing a wee bit about it. So they are termed a British alternative. You'll be surprised to know they're British alternative rock band formed in London, 1991 to 1999, described as alternative rock, indie pop, baroque pop, Brit pop. There's a story, and neo glam. So Luke Haynes was the vocalist you could hear. He was formerly a member of a very wonderful indie band that got nowhere called The Servants. One of their albums, Disinterest, is really good. Um, they kind of split. He formed the Auteurs with his then girlfriend Alice Redman, and also they then created a school friend of Haynes called Glenn Collins. The lineup was Luke Haynes vocal, guitar, piano, main songwriter, Alice Redman bass, and Glenn Collins drums. Later, they kicked Collins out and brought in James Banbury on cello and keyboards in 1993, and Barney Rockford replaced Collins on drums in 94. Their first album, New Wave, 1993, reached number 35 in the UK charts and was nominated for the Mercury Prize. And of course, is included in the book 1001 albums you must hear before you die. That's Deborah. Um, so on the same, there it is.
Yeah.
On the same page as Liz Phair, Exit in Guyville, The Afghan Wigs Gentleman. Never could quite get that album. Amy Man, whatever. And on the other side, Old Siamese Dream. There you go. Not quite 1991, is it? But it's not bad. In intro as well, and Bradley Buffalo Fuzzy on the top of the hat. Okay, so yeah, interesting stuff. Now a lot of talk about this album. And there's a guy called Dave Thompson who's an author, and he wrote Alternative Rock, this big, massive thing about music. And he said that the album New Wave laid the groundwork for what would subsequently become Britpop. Thompson referred to the album as a university thesis on how to build Britpop, shot through with startlingly intelligent perversity that the end result is more of a template than a tribute. Yeah, and the term Britpop would sort of come back to haunt him. So in 1994 saw their second album, Now I'm a Cowboy, um, the from which this song is taken. The promotion of this album, which does obviously feature New French Girlfriend, was hampered slightly when Haynes jumped off a wall and broke both his ankles.
What? What would provoke
Right.
jumping off a wall?
At the time, he claimed, I jumped off the 15-foot wall to finish the tour and get the insurance. But later, in the sleeve notes to a Greatest Hits compilation, Das Kapital, he denied that it was deliberate, saying, I merely drank too much wine and fell over. He was confined to a wheelchair for most of 1995. So, yeah, not a lot of promotion. The album reached number 27 in the UK charts, and the lead single, Lenny Valentino, got to the dizzying heights of number 41 in the UK charts, and that was their highest charting, their only charting single, I believe. A reviewer on AllMusic said of this album and of Luke Kane's, the man of acerbic wit, poetic lyric, haunting melody, and acute social commentary broke the rules and delivered another album shot through with pop music genius, further justifying his recently assumed position as arguably the most astute musician scribe on the English condition since Ray Davies. Very high praise indeed.
Really?
So we'll get into the lyrics and then a bit more shenanigans. So, not very complicated lyrics. Want a girl to hold my hand when the plane lands, when the cracks appear in the land and the rocks turn into sand. Again. Better call my new French girlfriend. New French girlfriend. New French. Make a call, international mo. All around the world. Money, fame, liberate and free. Alan, Rene, Vanessa, and me. These are three famous French people. Oh, again. Better call my new French girlfriend. New French girlfriend. New French. That's the price of success. Etc. And then again, and better call my new French girlfriend, new French girlfriend, new French. Want a girl to hold my hand when the plane lands, and then there's that tiny false ending. And it comes back for such a short period. You think, well, why bother? There's only about 8 seconds.
That's what I was saying. Like, come on, give me another 15, 20 seconds.
I do enjoy this song. The first time I heard it, it had that air of sort of feline creepiness about it. But so it really caught my attention, and it's always a decent song. So yeah, they got lumped in with Britpop at this time, much to his disdain.
Yeah.
He was famous for just slagging off everybody and saying how useless and untalented they all were. And they used to be compared to Suede, which he absolutely hated and hated all of them. So their third album, After Murder Park, was produced by Steve Albini. He thought it was going to be dropped. Luke Haynes thought it was going to be dropped from the record label, much to his surprise. When he asked for Steve Albini, he got it. I was like, okay. So it was released in 1996. It is a thematic album, almost a concept album, and it is exploring around a real unsolved child murder that happened near Haynes's when he was young. And he's kind of going through all that, and there's scenarios about children finding the body and all that sort of stuff. Trouser Press has called the album a misanthropic mini masterpiece, and that probably sums up the case. So after the commercial failure of this album, Haynes made a self-titled solo album under the pseudonym Bader-Meinhof, named after the German far-left terrorist group, also known as the Red Army Faction. It's a nice, catchy name for your band, isn't it? Bader-Meinhof. Weirdly, he actually got some of the Auteurs to play on the album, and weirdly, the Auteurs actually supported Bader-Meinhof at a gig at Dingwalls in Camden. So, he's in both bands, and he got them to play, but they were also supporting. It's just,
Yeah.
must be some music in the audience there. He then also started another side project called Black Box Recorder, And there is some really fun footage of the one and only time that Luke Haynes appears on Top of the Pops with a single they did called Facts of Life, which, yeah, is really fun. It's quite a sweet tune, actually, but it's hilarious. And the video is really funny. Um, yeah, so the final album they did was called How I Learned to Love the Boot Boys. It was released in 1999. It was initially going to be a concept album called ESP Kids. But progress was interrupted by his work on all the other projects. The record label's insistence that he writes a hit single, and Luke Haynes breaking his wrist after falling down a flight of stairs.
This guy,
We see
his biggest adversary is gravity. Like, what the hell?
yeah. um, so the album actually morphed into a glam rock album. And the album's opening track, The Rubettes, is a Brill Building a tribute. I don't know if you're aware of this. I had to look this up. Brill Building is a subgenre of pop named after the building, Brill Building, where supposedly all the songs were written for the girl groups in the early 60s. So it's a subgenre of that pop.
I never
But
heard
anyway,
that term.
so it's a tribute to the band of the same name, the Rubettes, incorporated in that act song Sugar Baby Love, of which some lyrics I did quote a couple of weeks back. Haynes wrote it on a glockenspiel during the period that he injured his wrist. So that's how he composed that song. Again, general critical praise and bugger all commercial success. The band broke up shortly afterwards. Surprise, surprise. Haynes has continued to work, and he has released 15 solo albums since then, some of which are really interesting. So 2011's solo album did was called 9.5 Psychedelic Meditations on British Wrestling of the 1970s and early 80s. That's a catchy title for an album. And it is a concept album with psychedelic arrangements about old wrestlers such as gorgeous British wrestlers such as Gorgeous George, Mick McManus, Shirley Crabtree, Big Daddy, Pat Roach, the one and only Kendo Nakasaki, and George Crybaby Cannon, and many, many more. 2013's Rock and Roll Animals is a concept album, a narrative story about outsider people represented as animals. The main characters are a cat called Gene Vincent, badger called Nick Lowe, and a fox called Jimmy Percy. He's the lead singer of Sham 69. But more interestingly, in 2020, Haynes collaborated with Peter Buck on the album Beat Poetry for Survivalists. I haven't heard it, don't know what it's like. Could be brilliant, could be awful. He
I'm
does
surprised you
remain.
haven't sought that out.
I know. I don't know why. He remains an enigmatic and caustic character, Mr. Haynes. In January 2009, he released a book called Bad Vibes, Britpop and My Part in Its Downfall, which serves dually as an autobiographical account of his years with the Auteurs and also a record of the Britpop movement of the 1990s. Throughout the book, he never refers to his bandmate, James Banbury, by name, referring to him simply as the cellist. I mean, that's pretty spiteful, isn't it? This guy
Yeah.
who spent
What was the great beef there?
no idea. But also, this gives you an insight. He helpfully provides a footnote explaining to readers who the band Radiohead are, just in case you've never heard of them. If you're reading Luke Haynes' autobiography, I think you probably heard of Radiohead.
Yeah.
He's
It's
kind of
hard to imagine you're living in a world where you've heard of the Auteurs, but you haven't heard of Radiohead.
Yeah. But he is so bitchy that it's like, oh yeah, just to know this is a little band from Oxford. So yeah, he's very funny, but he's also full of vinegar as well.
Yeah.
So there you go, the Auteurs.
Nice.
Really interesting band, and they have got some good stuff actually. But I think what I like about it is just his character is so dry, and yeah, it does appeal.
Yeah.
Someone know me. What can I guess? But yeah, we'll see how this goes, and if people like it, there's a couple more tunes that are absolute baggers as well.
Okay.
So
I'm
I'll give you
open to
another
it.
one, which is less sultry and more straightforward,
Okay.
guitar-y, loud. Yeah, brilliant. All right, I will wrap things up and say thank you for listening to Sandy. Folks out there, tell us what you think of this track. If you like it, do hit the like button. And yeah, drop some comments about the auteurs, this song, other songs, the four albums. I don't really know how to love the Big Boys. It's I know the first three. I probably think that After Murder Park is my favorite, but yeah, drop some comments. Let us know what you think. Love to hear from
Please,
you.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, please do and help us rise onwards and upwards through the Vauxhall Conference League or whatever it's called now and into Division 2. Where glamorous ties such as Lincoln City and Aldershot await. I don't even know that's true. I just made that up. I am not up to date with who's in Division
Yeah,
2.
who's been relegated and who hasn't? Yeah.
Apologies. Chesterfield? No. Um, let us know that in the comments as well. It'd be great to hear from someone who's really. Or Wrexham, didn't they just get promoted into the league proper?
Promoted, yeah, I think they did, but they're
Yeah.
not like in the top of the top yet, right? They just moved up from where yeah, they've got a long way to
What
go, don't
we
they?
what we would call in the old days Division 4.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doncaster Rovers nil, etc., etc. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.